Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Podcast. My name is Maddie, if you are new here. I have not updated this podcast in a while because I kind of gave up watching DComs because I don't really want to watch most of the older ones. So I've decided to just watch whatever ones I want and then just talk about them. So I watched the first two Cheetah Girls because the third one isn't my favorite. Sorry. And so let's talk about the first two Cheetah Girls movies because they're distinctly different and the same and so much fun, and they're some of my favorite movies since I was a kid. The Cheetah Girls is actually the first Disney Channel original movie to be a musical, and it was produced by Whitney Houston, which is crazy to me. So let's talk about the Cheetah Girls. So the first Cheetah Girls movie came out in 2003, I want to say. And of course, it stars Raven, Adrienne Balone, Sabrina Bryan, and Keely Williams. Now, I've seen things in places that Naya Rivera was actually in talks to be one of the Cheetah Girls at one point, and I don't know why she didn't do it. I don't know what happened, but or if it's true, but if she was meant to be a Cheetah Girl and I think it was going to be Aqua or something, that would have been amazing because we all know from Glee, Naya Rivera is a fantastic singer. It also would have changed the entire precipice of her career because Glee is really what put Naya Rivera into the spotlight, and that didn't happen until 2009. So if she'd have been a Cheetah Girl back in 2003, she might have been a way more of a main character from the get-go on Glee if she even did Glee after that, because, you know. So I don't know how I would feel if things were changed. I do like the Cheetah Girls we have, and I've loved them for years. I just like to think about it. What if? What ifs are always fun to think about. I think we should think about what ifs all the time. So this movie's conflict essentially is that the Cheetah Girls are entering the talent show competition. They are freshmen in high school, which makes no sense to me. They do not look like freshmen, but whatever. Um, I don't know who decided that, but why would you make them freshmen? Anyway, um, and so they get into the talent show, but this really cool music producer shows up, Jackal Johnson, and he wants to work with the Cheetah Girls. And then after they actually go through a meeting and whatever with him, they find out that he doesn't want them to be the Cheetah Girls. He wants them to be the global get down group where they wear masks and they lip sync and they sing this really annoying song. We go all around the world. We go all around the world. And they Raven was like no. The other girls were kind of like maybe. They didn't really quite say no off the bat. And so Raven decided to walk away, even if it meant she lost her friends, whatever, because she could not live with herself if she lost her friends, I guess. She decided to walk away to not lose her friends, I think was what her goal was, because she had been previously super controlling. Raven is super controlling in this movie. It's Galleria. Her character's name is Galleria. And she's kind of annoyingly controlling in this movie, whereas the second one she's much better about it. So that's something else I do want to talk about and note on. But yeah, Galleria, she's very much trying to get Dorinda to wear certain outfits that Dorinda can't afford, and she even tells her that she is on a whole different life of everything, and they're all just like, girl, you need to chill out. Yeah, this is our shot, but we don't need to turn into absolute divas just because we have our shot at a record deal. Because obviously before they found out that Jackal Johnson just wanted them to do the global get down, they were really into it. So as the movie pushes forward and we get to the point where the global get down thing is revealed, Raven walks, the girls stay, they might want to do it, but we don't actually know for sure what happens. because this movie is mainly focusing on Raven. So Raven goes back and she's upset and she's like, tells her mom, like, don't say I told you so, because her mom tried to keep her from doing anything with the producer or working with the producer in any way, shape, or form because she didn't think Galleria was mature enough to handle her dreams being crushed or ready for it or whatever, because she knows what it's like to have her dreams be crushed and she's trying to protect her daughter but also like let her live. And so they end up being able to do the talent show again, but they're like no longer friends essentially because everybody's really mad at Galleria for being really controlling and mean. Galleria writes another song, which one of the guys over here. So there's these guys that they're like in this talent show with that are seniors, and this is why it makes the sense that these girls are freshmen because they don't look that much younger than these guys. But whatever, these guys, Sonic Chaos, I think is what they call themselves. They have like DJ producing and like a microphone and they sing. Like that's it. That's their whole thing. And they think they're gonna beat the Cheetah Girls. And they think that because they think their songs are stupid. But like their songs are not stupid. They have amazing songs. Some of the best songs. But the one guy with the blonde hair, I forgot his name. He kind of like flirts with Raven a bit, and he comes to the stage and he hears her practicing or whatever, and he's like, "No, don't stop. That was actually really good, better than anything else you've ever played before." And they end up kind of having some moments there toward the end, and I think they were setting up for a romance there. Then he couldn't do the next movie, or the next movie ended up being in Barcelona, whatever, and then it just didn't happen. I don't know, but also maybe it was an age gap thing, and they just didn't want to do anything further than what they did because they did not kiss in this movie, and I appreciate them for doing that because um, if there's a huge age gap and it's a little weird, like let's not have the characters kiss. But yeah, so he ends up talking to her a lot, and so she after day of the talent show, she's out walking Toto, her dog, which is named after the Wizard of Oz, and Toto gets stuck in a hole, and all the Cheetos come running because they love Toto. And they once they get Toto out, which they have to sing to get him out, they're all going their separate ways. It's over. It's really over. I can't believe the Cheetah Girls are over. And he's like, the guy's like, um, you were right to walk away from the deal with the producer, but are you right to walk away from your friends? And then they sing Cheetah Sisters, which is like one of the best songs in the movie. Girl Power is my favorite song. I'll talk about the songs in a minute. And it's just so great. And they get back together and they realize that we don't have to fight. There's no reason to fight. And they tell Raven that they didn't take Jackal's deal. They let some other little puppets do that. And Jackal calls them after they win the talent show because he wants them as the Cheetah Girls now, I guess. And they're like, nope, sorry, we're unavailable. And the way they all each have something to say to him is my favorite thing. And I love that part. So, anyway, let's talk about the songs. So the opening song of the movie is a song that they sing at like a birthday party that they sing again later in the movie to Toto. It's called Together We Can. It's a kind of repetitive like song. Like after you know like the first little bit, you know the whole song because it just kind of repeats. Together we can shoot the moon, stop the rain, even ride a hurricane if we wanna. Together we can walk in the space, save the human race till we think we gotta. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Like that's literally the whole song. It just keeps like repeating. Um, it's kind of fun. It's not the best Cheetah Girls song for sure, but it's a good one. Even Raven herself said she doesn't understand what they were doing in that song, and I mean, yeah, like compared to the other songs in the movie, it doesn't really make sense. Like the other songs are like girl power songs, and that one's just like, oh yeah, together we can do it. And it's like it's like it was trying to be, but it wasn't. It didn't have enough to get there. Next song that we get is Cinderella, which is their talent show audition song. And it's if I went to Disney Channel night, I would have definitely wanted to dress like one of the Cheetah Girls in this scene. I think I like Dorinda's outfit the best, but Aqua's is so cute with her little fluffy skirt. And I love Cinderella. I think Cinderella is such a good song. It's basically about how being a girl, like singing the song, whatever, They don't want to be saved by some prince because they can save themselves because they don't need a man. And I love a little girl power anthem. I think this movie is full of them, and the messages in some of these songs like never leave and they stick with you. And being a young child hearing these songs, I've experienced girl power anthems like since I was a child because I had the Cheetah Girls. The Cheetah Girls were the most empowering thing I could ever imagine because they weren't all about boys. Um, I mean, they were, but they weren't. And I kind of appreciated that, especially in the first movie. They're more so not about boys in the first movie than the second movie. The second movie, they were kind of like all over the place. Uh, but yeah. Uh, my dogs are howling outside, so that's fun. Carry on. Um, and what's else? Girl Power. So Girl Power is like a song that they sing for Jackal Johnson to show them, hey, like this is our sound, this is what we like to do. And then he's like, no, let's do Global to Get Down, whatever. Girl Power is the best girl anthem, like of I'm a girl and yeah, whatever. I don't really know how to describe it. Like it's a girl power anthem. It's called Girl Power. It's great. Growl power, if you will, because they're the Cheetah Girls. Fun. And then, of course, Cheetah Sisters, which Cheetah Sisters is probably the most notable Cheetah Girls song. And I'm actually kind of mad the soundtrack version isn't like the movie, because in the movie they have a whole dance break that is probably one of the coolest dance breaks that the Cheetah Girls have, besides the Party's Just Begun in the Cheetah Girls 2 that we'll get to when we get there. But yeah, I really loved the dance break and stuff. And they do the dance break in the live version on tour. So I'm also like wondering like if they did it on tour, why couldn't they? But they also didn't do like the opening part where they all sing with Raven because they didn't go on tour with Raven. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. But they put the guitar solo in, which is fun. I love the guitar solo. So at least they did that. But the soundtrack version is not like the same. And I don't like when soundtrack versions aren't the same as the movie. Not because I don't like listening to it on a soundtrack, like a clean audio version. It's because 9 times out of 10, I like the movie version better. Or a little touch that they add, or something that's just slightly different, that's better. Like the Pitch Perfect riff off. I might talk about Pitch Perfect. I did watch it. Anyway, let's move on to the second one because I'm already like 14 minutes on. The second one is the Cheetah Girls are just finishing up their junior year and they find out about Chanel having to go to Barcelona with her mom because that's where her mom's boyfriend Luke lives, and she wants to go spend time and meet the family and get either a ring this summer or a tattoo, which is one of my favorite lines. It's so funny. She said she's getting a ring this summer or a tattoo. The way Chanel says it just cracks me up. And so she wants to like impress the family and really get in good graces with Luke's family because she wants to marry Luke. And Chanel is always against. Oh, rewind a second, actually. So someone tell me why in the first movie Chanel has a little brother, Punchy, which we see in person, like in the Cinderella scene, because he's like their like music tech guy, whatever. And then we never see him again. Like I know it's a movie, but like she has a whole brother that they talk about in the first movie because her mom even says like your brother's at your dad's. Like where's Punchy in the second movie? Where's he at? Did they forget about him? I think they did. It's been a couple years, so fair. Because this movie did come out in 2006, so a little fair. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, her mom wants to be engaged to Luke, and Chanel's always like against any boyfriend that her mom ever has, which we find out why later in the movie is because she was like the wall keeping out the hurt because she's seen her mom get hurt so many times and she didn't want to see that again. But she realized after the events of everything that happened that Luke and her mom are really in love. God, what's her mom's name? I don't even know her mom's name, you guys. Like, what's her name? I'm not gonna Google it. I'm just gonna not know for the rest of this. It's really fun. I might figure it out, but I doubt it. It's probably some Spanish name too. So it's because I never say it, I think. Like, they don't say it enough. And so I'm like, oh, what is her name? I really don't know. Genuinely. I have no clue. I've seen the Cheetah Girls like a dozen times. I don't know the mom's name. That's a little sad, actually. But yeah, so she realizes that they're really in love, and she's keeping her from real love. So she gives Luke her permission to marry her mother, and she's like, "I would be honored to be a part of your family." And they get even more excited when Luke reveals later in the movie that Luke is going to come live with them in New York because he could not ever possibly separate the Cheetah Girls. And of course that makes them very happy because she thought that was why she was so upset in the beginning of the movie and for most of the movies because she thought she was going to have to move to Barcelona. So she does find a friend in Marisol in this movie. Marisol is someone else who's in this competition. So basically the Cheetah Girls enter this New Voices competition and they all go to Barcelona with Chanel and also Galleria's mom and Chanel's mom, obviously. Galleria's mom is Dorothea. I know that name, but that's because Aqua kept being like Auntie Dorothea, like the whole movie. So like, how could I not? Like, shit's in my face. They don't ever say Chanel's mom's name. I swear it. Like, what is it? Somebody comment somewhere and tell me what it is. And how to pronounce it. Like, just stitch this on somebody stitch this on TikTok. I'm gonna put this on TikTok of what Chanel's mom's name is from the Cheetah Girls. Do it. And so, they're all going here to do this competition. They are all, though, not focusing at all on the competition except for Raven. And that becomes a problem again because the girls are like, like you're being controlling again, you're doing it again, da da da. It's like, dude, she just wants to rehearse for a competition that you have not even picked a song for or anything. Like, she was way more fair about it in this movie. She even steps back, and we'll get there. So, um, Raven made Chanel promise in the beginning of the movie. I keep calling her Raven because Raven is who plays her. Her name is Galleria. Okay, I know that. I do know that. So Galleria makes Chanel promise that they're really going to work for this competition because they are going to Barcelona because of Chanel. Because Chanel didn't want to go just by herself, and they found this opportunity and they took it. And so Galleria's dad gave Doe her airline miles. Aqua's dad's okay with her going as long as, and even gave them a list of souvenirs to get if they can go. It's completely up to Chanel's mom, and she says, I can't do it alone. Dorothea, you have to come with me. And they go off to Spain, and they meet Luke, and they meet Luke's nephew, who's a count, who Dorinda kind of has a little bit of a thing with. They also meet Angel during the strip performance, who is the nephew of the guy who's running the music competition. And he is, first of all, he is pretty. And second of all, his voice is amazing. His Spanish is exquisite. And I loved it. I love that whole scene. Like, I'm with Galleria. I was right there with Galleria watching this movie. Like, accents get me every time. I'm an accent girl. You have an accent? British accents are my favorite, though. But the Spanish accent is quite nice. Segata familia. I can't say it. I wanted to say the thing that Aqua keeps saying wrong in the whole movie, but I can't say it. I know it. I can't roll R's. So, like, I'm incapable of rolling R's. Not that I just can't try. Like, I literally can't. I wasn't born for that. And Everything's fun at first. They meet Marisol at the Dancing Cat. She performs a great performance of Why Wait, which is a really good song, you guys. I love that song. Um, and they meet Lola. Lola is Marisol's mom. Lola is very suspicious to Dorothea, but not to the girls because they don't really know her, and she seems like a very nice person because Lola is one of my favorite ways of portraying a villain, and it's that they are a villain, but they don't look like a villain and they don't seem like a villain because they are just trying to get what they want and they don't care how they hurt you, you know? But at the end of the day, it's not that Lola's intentions were really ever truly that bad. She just wanted her daughter to win the music competition. That was what mattered to her. And she saw the Cheetah Girls as a threat because, well, they're amazing. They're American, and four of them, they have that ability to do harmonies that her daughter did with Chanel in the club singing that song that night. And so she saw that reaction to her daughter singing with Chanel in the club, Marisol and Chanel singing Nana Nita Nana, which is a beautiful Spanish song. Is that a real song though? Somebody tell me. Like in Spain? I feel like they might have made it up for the movie. So, but it is, and it's amazing them singing together, of course. And so she's like, well, that would be great. I want my daughter to sing with Chanel and the thing. So how can I get that? And so she does every little thing she can to wheeze her way in, worm her way in. But we find out like immediately after that that's her goal. And I love that. I love that we know she's aiming toward this and that she's the villain of the movie instead of us just like being like, okay, like, do we trust her? Do we not? No, we don't trust her. But my favorite thing in this whole movie, in with the Lola and Marisol thing, isn't the fact that Lola is trying so hard to get what she wants for her daughter. It's that her daughter doesn't care. And she makes me laugh so many times. Like, she pulls out a bag of chips out of her bag and her mom just like throws it away. And then there's like a scene in the movie where they're eating lunch and and Marisol has like a burger and fries and a Coke and she's going to sip the drink and her mom switches the drinks and then she switches the plate and Lola's like on the phone with Chanel and all the Cheetah Girls or whatever and she just like grabs a french fry and eats it like she's sneaking french fries. Like, it's so funny. And so I think by the time the competition rolls around, Marisol has realized that she doesn't actually want to do this anymore. She's done this competition 3 years in a row. She does really love the Cheetah Girls. And so she doesn't want to. So everything kind of comes to a head at the competition because the Cheetah Girls are there. They're ready to rehearse. They're about to do warm-ups, whatever. Well, the director guy, whatever, comes and shows up and says, you guys aren't amateurs anymore. You took money for your performance at the Dancing Cat last night, which Lola orchestrated, but they don't know that. They don't know she orchestrated it. They just know that they took money, and so now they can't perform. So Chanel has decided to perform with Marisol because they don't want to say that they came all this way for absolutely nothing. But of course, they give back the money. Angel sees them, and he tells his uncle, because it's his uncle, yeah. He tells his uncle, and he finds out, I guess, that Lola orchestrated the whole thing. And so the Cheetah Girls are back in the competition, and Marisol leaves. Marisol decides not to participate in the competition because, truthfully, she really didn't want to. She has been doing this competition to win this money so they can go to America. That's her mom's dream. That's not her dream. She doesn't care. She just wants to live her life. And so we get to a great scene of Marisol just literally drinking like a milkshake or something. I don't even know. Something really sweet. And I was like, I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for Marisol right now. She's finally getting to eat what she wants. Because her mom wouldn't let her do it because she had to prepare for this competition. And so the Cheetah Girls, though, are amazing and forgiving and great, of course, because they invite Marisol on stage with them, and she sings a bit of Spanish with them, and her mom's so happy. The look on her face is precious. And of course, the girls win, because why wouldn't they? It's the Cheetah Girls movie. I think they win. I honestly don't even know. They literally cut to the credits like in as their performance ends, so they don't actually tell us if they win or not. I just kind of assumed. I think we all assumed as kids that they won. I don't know how anybody could beat them. I mean, they had the dancers from the Luke's nephew's dance studio. They had these performers like doing with instruments. They had Marisol. They had the angel. They had the uncle, Angel's uncle, the director guy. He was playing his trumpet. It was great. And they sang one of the best songs ever, Amiga's Cheetahs. It was amazing. It was the best performance of the whole movie. Actually, no. It's Over was the best performance of the whole movie, and I stand by that. I feel like It's Over is the most underrated Cheetah Girl song. Let's talk about it. I guess I didn't really talk about it. So we get to a point in the movie where Galleria has realized we have this performance in very few days, and we have not even started rehearsing. And I can't do this anymore. I can't go on stage and embarrass myself. Nobody's into it. Aqua's off designing clothes. Dorinda's off dancing. Chanel's off being friends with Marisol. Like, nobody's into this. I'm gonna go home. She went to go take a train, meet her dad at the train station. Well, they find out she's leaving the night before, and they wake up and they see Chanel finds the song on the bed, and she's like, "This is the best song you ever wrote." They meet her at the train station. They get her to come back, and she comes back in, and that was why Lola was on the phone with the Cheetah Girls at that point, because she'd called Chanel to say, "I'm sorry about everything with Galleria." Another great moment of Marisol. What was I supposed to do, Mom? Put her on the train myself? Like, Marisol just cracks me up. She's like, I'm doing everything you ask me to. Which she does. She does everything her mom asks her to, but like, she doesn't ever really go that far. Like, teaching Chanel a few of her songs is not really that bad, because at this point in the movie, we all think, even Chanel thinks she's probably going to be living here, so why not make this friend in Marisol? Because if, you know, she ends up living here, then she has a friend here. But she doesn't end up living there, so it's okay. But, yeah, it's a very fun thing, and I like that they had that whole moment where they all sing It's Over. Galleria is the best part of the song, but I loved when they all come in and harmonize with her. But I like that it's more of a duet between Galleria and Chanel, because I feel like it's more of a situation for them. Because as we've heard several times in the first movie, Dorinda and Aqua are very much new into the friendship in the first movie. Like, they Chanel and Galleria talk about how it used to just be the two of them and how easy it was, but how great it is now, and da da da, and they go back and forth a bit with it and everything. And so it's just kind of like I feel like they haven't been friends with them very long. They haven't been around very long. And now it's been a few years, so they're more friends, but like, this is a bigger deal for the Cheetah Girls to be over for Chanel and Galleria, because if Chanel ends up living here, she's never probably going to see Galleria again. And so that's kind of like the standpoint we're at with It's Over performance. And the vocals and the harmonies are amazing, but the emotion is by far the part that really sells it. I mean, they were like into it. So I like to pretend the Cheetah Girls 3 doesn't exist. It's not a terrible movie. It's just the Cheetah Girls just really aren't the same without Raven. And I don't know why she wasn't in the movie. I think it's somewhere on the internet, like she went to go film something else or whatever. I don't know. Which is fine. But they also did do the Cheetah Girls a lot without Raven, because I guess Raven is a very busy person, and so they can get her to do a movie from time to time, but to record an album and to go on tours and stuff is a little bit harder, because Raven was doing like That's So Raven, and Raven was like at the peak of her career during the Cheetah Girls, and so it's not really surprising that she isn't like on the other Cheetah Girls little album or the Christmas album or in the third movie, because she really wasn't like as much of a Cheetah Girl as them, but she's the best part of the Cheetah Girls. Besides Chanel, because Chanel is played by the ever so amazing Adrienne Balone. I think it's Houghton. I don't really know how to say her last name with her new husband. He's not really her new husband. They've been married for a few years now, but her husband, like, she took his last. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really know how to say the last name there, but I do love that they're still friends, Chanel and Adrian and Raven. I think that's amazing. I loved that Adrian came back to play Alana on Ravensholm. I did watch all of Ravensholm for some reason. I honestly think I was gonna quit after season 4 because season 5, like, they didn't have the full cast, but then I found out she was gonna be in it as Alana again. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch that. And then I just watched the last season anyway, because why not? But I wasn't like as into it as with all of them because it's like, how do you take away half the cast of your show? You know, like they revamped it and it was fine. But that is now one of the longer shows on Disney Channel. Ravensholm had 6 seasons when it ended. Most shows don't make it past 3, so that's pretty impressive for Ravensholm. And for the people who want to be like, oh, well, they rethemed it, they didn't retheme it until season 5. And it's usually the contract thing that they do where they retheme it so they don't have to pay the actors more has to be done in season 4. And they didn't do it for season 4 of Ravensholm. They kept it Ravensholm and everything, the same cast, everything was the same until season 5. That's when they redid it. And so maybe it's an episode total mark that they have to get to because maybe this show was a bit shorter. I mean, it does have less episodes than normal shows, like 20 episodes a season. I think it did have like smaller seasons, so maybe it took a while to get to that episode total. But I don't really know the semantics of that. But that's so Raven even made 4 seasons and didn't change the name ever or have a retheme. So I don't really know the semantics of Disney Channel's rule there, and I don't know when they established it. But I would feel like it was before That's So Raven because it's the first show to hit 100 episodes total, which I think it had 100 episodes total. But, like, it was the first show to do that. Now, I'm actually bored, and I have nothing better to do. So let's talk about Pitch Perfect for a minute. Or 2. Or 30. We'll see. I watched the first 2. I haven't watched the third one yet because it's not streaming anywhere because I would have watched it last night. And so I'm waiting for it to come on Hulu Live, and I recorded it. But it's coming on, like, I think while I'm in Disney or, like, not long after my Disney trips, so I have to wait to watch it. But it's fine. I'm not gonna rent it when I can record it on Hulu. Like, I looked on Hulu and it said it was upcoming, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just record it. Easy. Because I do like that movie, and also if I record it, I can fast forward the commercials, which I love doing, because I hate commercials. Because we have Hulu Live TV, so... Anyway. Pitch Perfect. So, I know I really wanted to focus more on Disney Channel movies, but honestly, we're gonna start season 2 with this episode anyway, so we're just gonna talk about whatever we watch. So let's just do Pitch Perfect. I like long episodes of podcasts sometimes. It's fun. Okay. So the first Pitch Perfect, Becca Mitchell is a young hipster DJ girl who wants to produce music. Her dad thinks she wants to be a DJ, but really she wants to like produce music, which is not the same thing as being a DJ, but she kind of does it in a DJ style because that's her thing. Her thing is literally mashing up songs. And so she gets a job for the radio station on campus. But her dad's like, yeah, no, you have to put yourself out there a little bit more. I'll pay for you to go to LA if you truly don't want to be here anymore after a year, but you have to put yourself out there. Join one club. So she goes and joins the a cappella club. Well, in the a cappella club, we get a bunch of other great people. And she ends up enjoying it, of course, and stays in college for her entire college career, 4 years of college. What she majored in, I don't know. I don't think any of them know what they majored in because none of them knew what they wanted to do. So I'm like, what did you go to college for? Like, what did you go to college for? I'm kind of curious. Because Chloe definitely was more focused on the acapella of it all. Like, Chloe, I think, loved the acapella part too much. It was a little weird. So I don't want to sit here and rehash the whole movie of Pitch Perfect to you because I would hope if you're watching this, it's because you've seen Pitch Perfect. So we're not going to actually tell you anything that happens in Pitch Perfect. I'm just going to talk about bits and pieces. Okay? One, why is it that this movie is an a cappella movie? They clearly sing live at several points in the movie, like the riff off, like the audition scene, and those are not the versions we get on the soundtrack. Like, as much as I love hearing Jesse sing Since You've Been Gone on the soundtrack version with Esther Dean because it's amazing, I love the audition scene. It's so fun. And like Stacy's little I get what I want is hilarious. That's fun. Fat Amy is amazing. Um I watched a vocal coach, Hannah Bales, on YouTube react to all three Pitch Perfects, and that's kind of what got me into the mood of watching Pitch Perfect. And she said Amy has like the voice, like, a voice, like she can sing, but they use this thing in this movie where they make her like the funny jokester kind of thing with her singing, so they don't really focus on how good she can sing and make it more of a this is funny, this is a joke. And that kind of makes me sad a little bit because Amy actually can sing. And she notes a part in the riff off where Amy is harmonizing with Stacy singing I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men in the riff off. And that was amazing. And it is amazing. And I feel like they focus more on some of the other singers of actually being able to sing. And I think every single person in this cast is an amazing singer. And I think that's what makes this so great. But also, realistically, how many people in an a cappella group are that good at singing? Like, when they performed, like, their finale performance, like, half of this group is singing a solo at some point. And it's like, how many a cappella groups have this many people that are that good at soloing? Like, I feel like that's a little unrealistic. Like, nobody is that good at singing. Like, no, not that many people are that good at singing in an a cappella group, right? I don't know. What would I know? But also, I could never be in an a cappella group. And not just because I can't sing, because if I could sing, there's no way I would have the mentality of knowing every single song ever like they do. Like, literally, when they do a riff off, they have to know like anything ever, and they have to be able to do the beat, the oohs and ahs in the background, and then they have to know the words. Like, how? I don't even know the words when I'm not listening to the song. How could I possibly do it without anything at all to guide me? What? Just mean like in that standpoint now. If I could sing and we were doing an a cappella group and it was purely competitions and we learned the songs and we picked how we did it and we learned it and we had it several months of practice, yeah, I could do that. Anybody can practice a song a million times and then perform it and know it. But it's like just on the fly? No, couldn't do that. Could not do that. Also, I think the first Pitch Perfect movie is the only one where the Bellas really sing a lot. They sing a little bit more in the third one than the second one, but I think they sing the most in the first one, but I don't know. It might be about the same. I feel like it's more though. And that's just because the first one is meant to focus more on the Bellas because that's who it's about. It's about the Bellas. And so most of them in this movie are freshmen. Chloe and Aubrey are seniors, but Aubrey then fails Russian Lit like 3 times so she can stay in the Bellas for the second one, which I think is just because why wouldn't you want to have Brittany Snow? Also because I think Brittany Snow is supposed to be the one to hit the low notes because that's the thing that happens in this movie because she gets nodes and then she thought the season was over so she got her nodes removed, which is that like a real thing? Like, can you? I don't know. I mean, I know you can have vocal nodule surgery, but like you get them removed? Like, how does that? I don't want to know. And so then she can't sing higher than a G sharp, and she can't really sing that high, and she can hit these bass notes. And she makes these hilarious sounds in parts of the movie, like when they do the part, and she goes some kind of low, like something, and they're like, "What was that?" And that was funny. And then Also, in the performance, you can hear bits and pieces. You can tell it's just a dude. It's clear. It's obviously not Brittany Snow. There's no way that's Brittany Snow, but it's hilarious. What else is really funny in this movie? I'll tell you what's not funny. The acapella people, the acapella association people, Elizabeth Banks and what's his name? I don't even care. I don't care what their names are. Um, I like Elizabeth Banks, but and I like her a little bit more between the two of them. But he is like racist, first of all, and more so in the second one than the first one. And he's incredibly rude. And I get it; it's his job to be a critic, but like the way that he says things is the thing that makes me mad. It's like you can say something about how like when they're talking about the blame it on the boogie performance, they're talking about how they don't think he's I don't want to say what he said because what he said was really messed up. His voice wasn't very deep yet, the guy singing, and it's because he was in high school. But the way that he said it was like, why would you say that? Like, why don't you just say, I don't know if this guy is really vocally mature. I don't know. I would say literally anything else. I don't know. What he said was just so weird. Like, why would you say that? The way he says things a lot or really irk me, and they get more unhinged as the movies progress, and racist and all kind of misogynistic, and I don't they I think at one point in the second movie he literally says like Flo might have to jump back over the wall to Mexico or something. And I'm like, dude. And like at the end of the movie he says something, oh my god, what was it? I don't know. But he's just I don't like him. I feel like he was supposed to be like a comedic relief, but he really wasn't. I think Fat Amy was the comedic relief better. There were parts where I was like, why do we have to keep making fat jokes? Because she makes a lot of fat jokes. Like the one in the third one where she's like, I could be obesity. Like that's why. Why do we make fat jokes like that? It's kind of rude. But like her like vertical running and horizontal running, like that's funny. I don't know, there's just the way that they did some of the humor just made no sense to me. My favorite part is the toner scene though, where Aubrey's like, I can see your toner through those jeans. And Becca's like, that's my bleep. That is my favorite line of the movie, by far. I love it. I think about it every day. Okay, let's do the second one. Okay, so my favorite thing about these movies is that they are set in the time that they're released and they don't just like jump right back into where they left off. This movie is set 3 years later. It was filmed like 3 years later. Well, it came out 3 years later. So all the Bellas pretty much are seniors, and they do this performance for the president, and Fat Amy's pants rip, and her thing, her down there area, is seen by everyone, and they are banned from letting in new members and from performing at a collegiate level, so they are not able to go to the ICAs this year like they've won, which they've won 3 years in a row. They, however, are not banned from going to Worlds and performing there, and they would be reinstated if they won Worlds. So the movie is about them going to Worlds, but this is the most boring movie ever, and they never focus on going to Worlds pretty much until they get there. Becca gets an internship at like a record label, which of course is because she wants to produce music. And she has bits and pieces of the movie where she feels like, I can't do this anymore, or I can't do this, or I'm not good at this. And everybody's like, yeah, but you're so good at it. You're so smart. You're so amazing. And so she has to like figure out how to do it. And then she does it just like the guy she's like working for or whatever. And he's like, I don't like people that can do the same thing as me. Like, do something different. Don't be like me. Be your own person. And I liked this guy too. As a record producer, he knew how to be I think he was one of the best parts of the movie, for sure. He knew how to be critical in a way that was necessary, like when he constantly yells at Jax, but also he knew how to give the honest feedback that was needed to each person. Like when he told Becca, like, that was great what you did with Snoop Dogg. I'll listen to some demos if you have them. And then when he listened to the demos, he was like, it just was a bunch of mashups. And I just, I feel like you could be more than a girl who just does mashups. Like anybody can do that. Anybody can do what you just did with those mashups. I want you to prove to me that you deserve to be like a record producer. And he's really great at being critical. And she took everything to heart because it was necessary and she needed to hear that. And I love that aspect of the movie, that Becca is focusing on what she's doing after college. What she majored in, I don't know. It obviously wasn't anything other than a cappella because mashups are all she knows. Because that's what she's done for 3 years, and she won like 3 ICAA competitions. Like, oh wow, you're so great. You won a cappella competition. Cool. That doesn't make you an amazing music producer. And this movie does not have the best of the Bellas like songs. Like the songs in this movie aren't as good for the Bellas. I liked some of them, but not most of them. And I think it's because this movie is supposed to be like them like trying to figure out who they are after everything, because they like lose who they are. They go to this retreat at one point, which Aubrey is like in charge of. And there's like bear traps everywhere, and it's really fun. And it has some of the best vocal moments of the movie when they do the Back to Basics performance, and also they do the cup song, but like not with the cup because I guess they didn't realize that would be easier. They just all a cappella sang the song. And I love that they put that song in the movie, but like after the first movie, like you're not gonna top that. You're not gonna top the cup song in the first movie. It was amazing. And it was fresh and it was new and it was different, even though it wasn't, because it was on the internet and that's how Anna Kendrick learned it. But also, I remember correctly, Anna Kendrick literally like saw that video and learned it online and did it on the set that day or whatever. And her original plan for her audition was supposed to be like, I'm a little teacup or something. So obviously we got better with the cup song, but like it wasn't like what they had planned, and it ended up working out better. And it did, because I think that cup song blew up everywhere. Like everybody was doing the cup song. And it's pretty fun. And so they figure out their sound and they're ready to go to Worlds, and they spend like most of this movie doing nothing. Until the retreat, I don't feel like any of this movie really, after the whole incident with the president, like really had anything toward the plot other than maybe Bumper and Amy. And Amy realizing she's in love with Bumper is hilarious, because first of all, how did you not know you were like, look at I was gonna say look at Bumper. Not that he's unattractive, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Amy and Bumper have always had that thing, like from even the first movie, where she's like, I sometimes have a feeling I could do crystal meth, but then I think, better not. And he throws a burrito at her, and there's so many moments between the two of them, and I love that this movie expanded on that and have them like together. And I'm kind of sad the third one doesn't really talk about Bumper anymore, and they broke up or whatever. And I'm like, dude, why? I loved Fat Amy and Bumper. So anyway, they get to Worlds and they do a great performance of several songs, including Flashlight, which is written by their new Bella, their legacy Bella this movie, who they call Legacy throughout the whole movie, because she's a legacy Bella because her mom was one. Emily. Emily is played by the amazing Haley Steinfeld. Is it Steinfeld or Seinfeld? Steinfeld. I don't even know. I don't care. But she's amazing. She's an amazing singer. Her audition scene was kind of funny. But and I love the song Flashlight. It's a great song. I was really happy to finally see on Spotify that they had her singing that song, because the only version I could ever find before was Jessie J. And I was like, I like Jessie J singing, but I want to hear Haley Steinfeld sing it because it's amazing. Not just like in the world's performance, like the whole song. I want to hear the whole song. That's a great song. And they bring in a bunch of old generation Bellas, and it's amazing. Also, Emily's mom is played by the house, like Pat from Smart House, which we've talked about on this podcast if you want to check it out. And I cannot, for the life of me, ever forget her face. And I can't believe I didn't realize it when I first saw this movie. But I mean, I first saw this movie when it came out in 2015, so fair. But yeah, this movie was fun. It was a little boring, but it was fun at the end. Their singing got better for sure at the end. Their performance, they saved the best performance for last. But I feel like through and through the third movie, they were like really up there with performances, and same with this first one. I mean, other than the boring one, but whatever. Which we all know. Da da da. That's ingrained in my brain. I started Spy Kids last night, but I didn't finish it, so I guess we'll save Spy Kids for the next episode that we do. I want to watch all, like, the first 3 Spy Kids. I was going to say all Spy Kids, but no, I don't want to watch all of them, because there is a 4th one, and I don't want to watch that one. I have seen it, which is why I know I don't want to watch it. I like the first 3. Also, I really want to watch the 3rd one, because finding out Glenn Powell is in Spy Kids 3 blew my mind. And now I have to see it for myself. How much is he in that movie, too? Like, because I don't remember his, like, when I saw what he looked like in the movie, I was like, I don't really remember him too much, so I guess we're gonna have to watch it again. So anyway, this might be the longest episode of a podcast I've ever done. You're welcome. Or not, I don't know. If you're still here, please like, comment, subscribe, whatever, if you want, for more talks about pop culture stuff. I am going to Disney next weekend, so I'll try to do another episode before then, just to upload later, but I can't promise anything. I also didn't do my other podcast last week, so I have to do one this week. So it should be up Friday, as it usually is. It's just I had to do all the work to prepare it, and that was why I didn't do it, because I had the ability to. I didn't feel like it. But yeah, I watch a lot of movies, mainly that I've seen before, but I try to watch movies I haven't seen before. So, if somebody wants to give me a recommendation, good luck. Maybe you should go check my Letterboxd. It's linked below. First, it's like on my, I don't know. I think it's linked below. I'll check. Because I might have seen it before. You never know. You'd be surprised. I went like on a big binge of movies one year. I think I like would watch like a movie like every day at one point, because I had so many movies on my to watch list and I needed them gone. I was like, this is annoying. So now I just watch the same stuff that I've seen before, because nothing new interests me anymore. Nothing new. I think the last show that really interested me was Revenge, and I literally watched the first episode again the other day because it's so good. And God, it was such a good episode for a first episode too. So if you guys want me to talk about Revenge, I might finish this video and do an episode. I don't know. Actually, no, I won't. But I might start talking about Revenge on here. That would be fun. Should I? I haven't watched more than the first episode, so I have the ability to do that. Comment below if you want me to talk about the best show ever, Revenge. I'll watch it for you guys. I'd watch it with you guys, but I don't know how to do the screen recording, and also copyright. So why would I do that?